So, how are you guys doing today? Good?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Yes.
We're both doing well.
Had a busy few days of promo, obviously ahead of the album release, which is 2 weeks away now.
It comes out on October 21st
First
here. Yes.
Are you feeling ready for everyone to finally kind of hear it?
Yeah, we're very excited for people to hear the new music, and hopefully they enjoy it.
So, with your kind of with the approach for this album, was it quite different going into the studio this time around, or did you try anything new, songwriting wise, that maybe you hadn't tried before?
I mean, songwriting for us is always a new experience, as we're always trying to push ourselves forward artistically with what we are creating at the time of any given record's creation. That was the same with Burials. What was markedly different for us this time was the amount of time we spent in the studio in relation to modern recording.
Yeah, we actually tried to do it in 6 weeks, which is, we hadn't made a record in that short of amount of time since the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And we pulled it off.
We did. It worked out very well. We only recorded 13 songs, so the songs that you hear on Burials showcase the entirety of our recording process.
So there was nothing was cut out. It was like, these are the songs. And
before we went in the studio, we had to decide exactly what was going to be on the album, because we knew that we only had 6 weeks to record it.
Did you find that quite was there a kind of liberation to that compared to kind of having to pick between things? Was there a bit more kind of
going into the studio knowing exactly what record we were recording as far as which tracks were going to be on it was liberating in that respect, because there was no mystery at that point as to which songs were going to make the record. Making the decision prior was no less difficult than it was in the past when we would make that decision after we've tracked all the songs. But it was nice to know.
Yeah, I mean, at least we didn't have have to choose between completed songs.
Correct.
That sounded great.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
So you didn't have any kind of I'm trying to think of babies to kill, I think was the impression. You didn't have to get rid of anything. You were kind of.
I mean, there were a lot of songs that we loved that didn't make.
We killed a lot of babies.
Yeah, we killed a lot of babies, to use the analogy. Kittens. Let's go with kittens.
Yes.
We killed a lot of kittens. Because I would care less about killing babies than I would kittens. Really, a lot of babies need to die.
Yeah.
But that process happened early on. So there were songs. There's songs. There was a song that Hunter and I really loved. One of my favorite tracks that we wrote that didn't make the recording session.
Killed.
Killed. But that's part of the process always.
So with your I think it's 2 songs so far that everyone's been able to hear. Mm-hmm. You put out 2 music videos before, and obviously you've done a lot with the visuals on the build-up to the release of this album. And obviously you guys kind of predate having to kind of build these social media campaigns and all that kind of almost, I guess, modern approach to kind of releasing an album and things like that. Like, do you enjoy bringing that visual aspect in for the build-up? Is it quite different from what you had to do?
Being able to add a visual element to what we're doing is something that we've always enjoyed, and we had the forum of music videos to do that in the past, and this time we had the ability to preface what we were doing musically on Burials with the vignettes that we created prior to the release of the first song that we sent to fans, which was I Hope You Suffer, and we worked very closely with the Surround gentlemen in New York, who are great artists, great directors, to create those shorts that led up to what we were doing, and then they went on to direct the video for the song that we sent to fans, which was I Hope You Suffer, and we really felt that it captured all of the mood of what we were doing and what was to come on Burials very, very well.
Is that something you're going to continue through once the album's been released as well? Are you going to try and continue the linking together of the different songs with visuals still?
Certainly whenever we make a music video, we like the video to have continuity with the tone of the song and the theme of the song.
Yeah, I mean, there will be continuity in that it all relates to the same body of music, but I don't think there will be a continuing narrative or from the pre-existing videos.
And were there any particular reasons that you chose I Hope You Suffer as the first track to to give out to fans for this release, do you think?
We wanted to give something to the fans who've been waiting for music, and we sent them I Hope You Suffer before we released the video for it publicly, and before we sent the song out to the public, and we felt that I Hope You Suffer was a song that represented the general tone and mood of the record very well, so that those fans were given an insight into that tone.
Are there any, have there been any bands that have influenced the, obviously you said you had to go in and really kind of pick your songs for the record, but were there any bands while you were writing in general that you've listened to recently and since the last album cycle almost, that have kind of had an influence on your work on Burials, do you think?
No, there have never been bands that really directly influence what we're doing. We all listen to so many different types of music, and all of what we have grown up listening to, or we listen to currently, affects who we are as people, but there's never been any bands that directly influence what we write, and that's the case on Burials as well.
So it's the kind of, as soon as you're in the rehearsal room or sitting down to write parts, it's kind of every other thing just kind of goes out of your minds, and you kind of
focus on
have
what
an
we're
instinct.
creating.
Focus on what we're doing and focus on each other.
Yeah.
I mean, is there anything in particular that you really wanted to achieve with the themes of the record lyrically, or anything?
It's never that focus. We're never, when we sit down to write, we don't look to achieve a specific thing. We don't look to write a specific type of record. It's not really discussed in those terms. Naturally, what comes out of us and what flows is what we gravitate towards. And as we write further and further, songs elevate themselves, and tones tend to relate to each other, and it directs the mood of the greater body of songs that we are creating, and that was the case with Burials as well.
Do you think are there any particular tracks from the record, aside from the two that you've already kind of unleashed and let people kind of get the taste of so far, are there any tracks that you can't wait for fans to hear? Are there anyone that really stand out that you're really excited about everyone getting to hear them?
For us, all the songs are equally important. The record's very dynamic, and it's each song is unique and holds a specific importance to us, as is typical when we choose what we're going to actually record. We choose songs that we all very much like. So there isn't a particular track that means more to me on the record, more so than the other, and that includes the single, and that it also includes the track that we released earlier, I Hope You Suffer. They're all part of the whole.
Yeah, I consider just one thing
an album.
Yeah, I can't wait for people to hear the
one
record thing.
Yeah, the record. I mean, it's certainly people who have a distance from it, who, as we created it, we were very close to it. I imagine others will be able to pick favorites, but we've never been able to do that.
So obviously you're over in the UK doing some promo, obviously ahead of the race, so obviously it's quite an important place for you guys you feel you need to kind of come and do, and you've obviously played here many times over the course of your history as a band. Do you think the UK and Europe in general, do you enjoy kind of coming out of the US, and are there any differences between touring here and touring at home, do you think?
Honestly, the differences between touring overseas and touring at home are very personal. We're lucky to have very passionate fans all over the world, and certainly the fan base here in the UK has been very strong since our first visits over here, which is very nice. We have a larger fan base here, and did so immediately than we have had in other countries that we had played for the first time. So it's always nice to come to the UK, because there's a very strong fan base. But when you bring it down to the level of playing the shows are very similar wherever we go, whether we're playing to 300 people or 3,000 people or 30,000 people, if those people are our fans, because they all bring a really great energy to the show, no matter what country.